5 years ago, as you well know, we saw the introduction of the eco contribution. It was quite a considerable introduction to the country, and at the time, MHRA had reached an agreement with government that the collected eco contribution would be ring-fenced and reinvested back into the tourism product. What has been achieved on this front, and what are we to expect in the coming months?
Good morning, first of all, Andrew. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Johan. And hello to all the listeners here present for this webinar. Interesting question, Andrew. And as you rightly point out, in 2016, the government had introduced the collection of the eco contribution, which by way of background for the benefit of our attendees here, in Malta, the contribution is chargeable as 50 euro cent per person per night for visitors in obviously licensed accommodation. Okay, and the revenue it's kept at 5 euro, and the revenue is earmarked. The revenue collected is earmarked to be directed for upgrading our tourism product. In fact, over the years, a number of tourism-related projects have been fully or partially financed from tourism and tourism contribution, either in their totality, or then we have a contribution coupled with public funds, EU funds, etc. There has been a vast array of projects ranging from resurfacing of roads, road signings, road markings, tourism pilot projects, designs and studies, and we'll come back to that, for eventual projects which will materialize along the years, playgrounds in our villages, and various other embellishments across Malta. As you know, because we have a combined joint committee, we have been looking at ways to improve the governance of the contribution from a financing point of view, and we are looking at ways to have a more holistic approach to it, with thematic allocations rather than ad hoc allocations, so that we can plan ahead more, say for a greenification element for projects, local community heritage projects, religious tourism projects, public piazzas, projects targeting coastal environments such as diving, beaches, and climate change, and finally the large-scale regeneration projects. We have, when it comes to regeneration, which I think is a bit of a buzzword, because sometimes everything we do we tend to call regeneration, but regeneration is a very interesting subject, and I think together there's a lot which we can do. For instance, as you all know, some years ago we have launched studies for a massive regeneration project with the Parcheville area. There are plans there which we expect them to materialize later on this year, in Q1 this year. We have also up and coming projects in Birzabuja, in Marsashloq, and we're also exploring studies to undertake deep regeneration within the Bujibba, St. Paul, Aura area. I think when it comes to coastal tourism areas, some of those towns, I think, have been left not in neglect, but there's a general state of tiredness, you know. And in fact, constant surveys show that overall the tourist satisfaction is still okay, but we need to take care of that, because there's a general concern about the state of cleanliness. Obviously, the geophysical realities of our country are what they are, but we have to ensure that our tourism product remains at par, if not better, than our competitors. And to that effect, as ministry and together with MTA and our main agency, we have a bold program of projects coming up. Obviously, sometimes people maybe do not realize that there's a lot of work going on in the background, and because it takes time. You need to undertake the studies, you undertake the plans, consultations, tenders. So from the concept stage till the actual implementation, it takes some time. But we are determined to make a difference as ministry, and I'm sure that in the next few months we'll be embarking on quite a vast array of projects to that effect.
Ronald, a number of our members have been rightly asking, they're saying that given that we're currently going through a downtime, shouldn't we be seeing more regeneration, more embellishment projects? What is your reply to this comment?
To me, first and foremost, the local resident, so to speak, the well-being of the local resident has to remain at the center of this whole debate. Okay, so in my mind, there's no distinction between the resident and the tourist. Some even argue that the whole of Malta is a whole tourism area, so to speak. Okay, so yes, COVID has even enabled that. There was a positive side to that it has enabled us that during the quasi-lockdown period, so to speak, we have embarked on some not massive, we don't call them regeneration, but embellishment programs in the tourism hotspots, which previously normally they would be crowded with tourists. So the emptiness, so to speak, has enabled us to make some quite extensive touch-ups to these areas, and domestic. The domestic COVID has enabled us to see even the benefit of domestic tourism. Domestic tourism has not been obviously it's not our forte. It's inbound tourism, which is our forte, and we don't have that great share of domestic tourism in Malta. But obviously, domestic tourism is what's kept us going, right? So we need to maintain that element, not only for the tourists, for the sake of having a nice country and well-kept country, but also primarily for the local residents.